Welcome and happy new year everyone. Let's talk about the best releases of the year. Last year that is. We have produced 128 videos in 2024. That's a new record for our channel. So what were the best basses, pedals and amps in 24? Let's start with this one. This is the Redbird Guitars Gemini 30, and if you follow this channel you should be familiar with this bass and the story behind it. This is a short scale bass made in the Czech Republic, and one of their specialities is to use very old woods. These were rescued from an old church. They are over 130 years old, which makes this bass resonate like a very expensive old vintage bass. As you can see, it's still here. I immediately fell in love with this bass and eventually sold my old Fender Mustang and my Gibson EBO because this year is just so much better. Watch our video if you want to learn more. I will link this and all the other videos I'm referencing here in the video description. Next in the list of the best bass gear of the year is an amp that was so good. I've played it, I had it here, and I still can't believe this even exists. The Avalanche by LeSuire Amps, a 300 watt all tube amp that only weighs 10.5 kilos. What an amp! The whole stack weighed nothing and sounded incredible, and honestly this makes me extra happy because it's exactly what I hoped would happen. Class D amps are great, they're practical, but most sound not nearly as good as entry-level tube or older solid-state heads. This year is like a hybrid of all the best features, incredible sound and incredibly lightweight. Before we move on to the next bass, I want to take a moment and talk about a few things that happened this past year with this channel. First of all, we added 3 new basses to the rotation of demo players in our videos. First Sophie Chassé, then Johann Bonitz and most recently Florian Reichelt. But that's just what you see. The most significant change happened behind the camera. Last year I finally hired my first full-time employee to help me with this video. Felix, who's behind the camera right now. Say hi! Oh. Felix does most of the filming and pretty much all of the editing, which means I can finally work normal hours. No more night shifts for me to handle the workload. It's such good teamwork, I should have done this years ago. Another new thing that happened last year, we are on TikTok, and to my surprise this is going incredibly well. I've only mentioned it once on this channel and we're currently closing up on 100,000 subscribers, so if you're on TikTok, find us. Now back to the gear. Next in list of the best bass gear of the year is a pedal that was unfortunately a Sweetwater exclusive, which means it's really hard to get outside the US. But nonetheless it belongs in this video. It's an incredible pedal and one of the best of its genre, the JHS Punchline. Punchline is an all-in-one pedal preamp. We got a compressor, a drive, an analog amp sim and an EQ. It's such a good sounding and well-designed pedal. If you ever get a chance, I highly recommend to try it out. Now back to basses. SIRE has updated and expanded their line of Marcus Miller basses, and the bass that impressed me the most is a rather untypical one, the F10 5-string. This is such strong Fodera vibes. It's their most expensive bass, but damn is it a good deal. Of course, if you buy a boutique bass like this in this style, you get better fretwork and usually can individualize some specs like pickups, preamps or the top wood. but that sets you back at least 4 or 5 grand. This year costs a third of that. Well, while we're at it, that's the next bass in our best gear of the year list. The Light by Adamovic. I bought this bass. I wasn't planning on doing that, but after we were done with the video, I asked Nicola if I could keep it a little more to play it, and then I guess a week later I texted him again, but more in the sense of, sorry, this is my bass now. Adamovic delivers incredible craftsmanship, the ergonomic and lightweight, Adamovic usual, but this one had something in its sound that really got to me. It has some old school Fender vibes, but also all the perks I already mentioned, plus a B string that sounds exactly like all the other strings. That's something very hard to accomplish on an actual Fender style bass. What a bass, but last year there was another significant release. This is my Kelly 76 compressor by Origin Effects out of the UK. It's probably the best pedal compressor you can buy, but this year they released a compact version of this. They made compact pedals before, but this sounds significantly better. Technically this is even better than the big box version, but let's not get too deep into details here, just watch the video. In September, Spector sent us a set of 6 custom shop basses that were built to be exhibited and sold at the Guitar Summit show, and they were all amazing. But 2 stood out for me. First was an all-white 4-string, and the second one was the one they called Bird's Eye View. This video showed me that it might be time to get a Spector bass. They all played and sounded incredible. Next on our best bass gear of the year list is a pedal that, even if you have seen the video when it came out, you've probably already forgotten about it. I knew that would happen, that's why I called the video the best bass pedal no one talks about. It's the Black Haze 2 from EBS. There are hundreds of bass distortions on the market, and it can get quite confusing and frustrating to find the right one. This one here is surprisingly flexible. What it does best, really exceptionally well, are thick, stoner-like sounds. But everything else, no matter if low or high gain, this one does as well. I'm not sure if you will find another bass distortion that's basically sweet spot after sweet spot after sweet spot after, you guessed it, sweet spot. Over the past half year or so, this became my default distortion whenever we need a distortion sound that's not this mid-scoop metal kind of sound. This is excellent. Try it out. The next bass in our best bass gear of the year list is the X3M by Maurizio Über. This is one of the craziest basses I've ever played. It came with 3 different necks which all had different scales. They've invented a system that allows you to change the necks within 2 minutes with no extra tools other than what the bass already has on board. Let's hear it. Now let's go back to amps. There were several great releases this year, like the Kinetics by Gensler. Incredible work. But my favorite got to be this, the V803 bass block by Quilter. I feel feel like this amp had the most interesting concept. You get these 3 voicings. Voicings are usually useless, at least in my opinion, but here it's like you get 3 different amps. Each voicing triggers a different behavior of the power amp, each voicing has a different cap sim on the DI out. This is brilliant. Next in our list of the best bass gear of the year is a bass that didn't come out in 24, not at all, it's an old bass, but it's new here, I purchased it for our studio. It's a Taranaki Fretless, and with this we recorded the best thing, or the thing that I liked the most last year. Florian, take us away. And he's not even a fretless player, and this is an unusual scale, 32 inches. Incredible. Now there's one more pedal that needs to be on this list. The video just came out 2 weeks ago, but if you watched it, you know exactly why it needs to be on this list. The Sub Octave by Ftelettronica. This is an Ampeg Sub Blaster, by far my favorite Octaver ever made, but they're very hard to find, they're rare, they're expensive. For years I didn't really mention it on this channel because I was afraid this would rise the prices even more. I only did when I had 3 for myself. One I gave back to the seller who really regretted selling it to me, he missed it, but the other 2 will be with me for the rest of my life. But yeah, there's this now. It sounds the same, it almost behaves the same, which is probably even more important. I'm just extremely happy this exists now for everyone to buy. So here we are, the last bass. I didn't want to use numbers in this video because what's the point? They're all winners in their own right. But there was one bass this year which really blew my mind. It's so simple and basic but executed so perfectly. It's my personal winner of 24. The Soulmate 51 by Gier. This is by far the best 51 style P-Bass I've ever tried. The only ones that could compare to that are the ones that wouldn't be called 51 style P-Basses because they're actually old vintage 51 P-Basses, but these sell for 5-figure sums these days. The Gier was so lovely, so incredible. I'm not 100% sure why I didn't buy it. Yeah, it's expensive, but that's kind of a weird thing to say after admitting that I kinda have this Adamovic here now. But who knows, later this week I will go to the Netherlands and maybe I should visit Sander's workshop and talk about... well, let's see. I think we're done. And no, we're not. There's a ToneX One. It's like a quad cortex that fits in the palm of your hand. Roll the clip. And that's it from me. Thanks for watching. Subscribe if you haven't yet. Now would be a good time. Here's a roundup of 2023 if you're wondering what happened the year before. I guess. Bye! BassTheWorld.com